Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel where we learn together, take action together, and reflect together. My name is Tamira and thank you so much for being here. Today's car conversation is about the current state of public education, and if I had to sum up the current state in one word, I would say catastrophic. And before I explain why I choose the word catastrophic to describe what's happening in our schools, I want us to think about why we send our kids to school. What is the purpose of education? And the answer to that question will vary depending on who you ask. But I say the purpose of education is to meet the academic, social, and emotional needs of all students so that they are prepared to reach their full potential. Our classrooms should be providing students with learning experiences that will develop their ability to think critically, to ask questions, to collaborate and communicate, to regulate their emotions, to use technology and media effectively and efficiently, to be creative and innovative, to solve problems, and to create new possibilities. That type of educational experience should be afforded to every single student sitting in any classroom across the United States of America. Every single student in this country should graduate high school prepared to become whatever they want to become. All students in this country should graduate high school with knowledge and skills that can be used to transform their lives and their communities. However, that is not the case in this country. All does not mean all, and public education is in a deep-rooted crisis. And I mean deep. And it has been for a very long time. So let's take a look at some data to support why I say we are in a deep crisis. This data comes from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, also known as the Nation's Report Card. And the NAEP assessment or test tells us if our students in grades 4 and 8 can read and do math. This test is given every 2 years, but when the pandemic hit in March 2020, the 2021 test was delayed until 2022. So here are the latest results. So tell me, what do you notice? You can pause the video if you need to. There's a whole lot to notice here, but I want to point out the performance of African American students and Hispanic students. When I look at the data, the question that I have is, why aren't Black and brown children succeeding in schools despite the well-meaning actions and efforts of educators and teachers? The first thing I want to say to that is we have to be very clear about the fact that Black and brown children are born with the ability to grow, to learn, to achieve, and to create at high levels. The reason Black and brown children are not succeeding in schools is a result of dehumanization. It is the result of systems of oppression designed and maintained by upholders of white supremacy. It is the result of the American caste system. Our schools participate in disempowering and dehumanizing students from marginalized communities. There is absolutely nothing natural about Black and brown children's underperformance. It is all by design, and oppressive systems like the system of education continue to have fatal consequences on Black and brown children. And so the bottom line is, Black and brown children are not learning in our schools. Their needs are not being met. And the teachers that educate Black and brown children are not being developed and supported. Their needs are not being met. Y'all, teachers are tired. They are burned out. They are stressed out. If you ask any public education teacher, they will tell you that education is intense and unsustainable, especially in schools and communities with Black and brown children who have been historically underserved. And teachers are concerned about disrespect. They're concerned about instructional demands, failed policies, large class sizes, lack of protected development, and lack of time needed to grow and develop their practice. Too many teachers do not have access to quality mentorship, training, development, or coaching. Teachers are concerned about low compensation. And y'all, let's be real. Teachers are not teaching to break the bank, but they do need to be able to support themselves and their families, and they are not able to do that. And so they are having to get second jobs. Teachers are leaving the classroom, and schools are having a difficult time filling vacancies, and some vacancies never get filled. There are kids sitting in classrooms right now without a qualified teacher. And so let's be clear, the teacher shortage is not due to an inadequate number of qualified teachers. We have qualified teachers. We have brilliant people that can go into our schools and transform students' lives. The shortage is a result of qualified teachers not willing or wanting to work in these conditions at the current compensation levels, knowing that the work is increasingly stressful, that it gets harder by the day. And it's just not worth it for a lot of teachers. And honestly, who can blame them? And let me tell y'all, when we don't have happy teachers and healthy teachers in our schools, everybody suffers. The students, the teachers, the families, the entire community suffers. Why? Because teachers are the single most important factor in student growth and development, period. Dr. Gloria Ladson-Billings calls the state of education death in the classroom. For students, death in the classroom is made evident when we see high numbers of disengagement, academic failure, dropout, suspension, and expulsion. Academic death leaves students unable to reach their full potential. It leaves them unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable in our communities, which makes them more vulnerable to the criminal justice system. For teachers, academic death or death in the classroom is evident when they stop trying to reach each and every student, or when they give in to policies and practices that are dehumanizing. They stop teaching and give into a system that has no intent on giving Black and brown children what they need to reach their full potential, and no intent on giving teachers what they need to meet the needs of their students. And so what do we need to do to prevent death in our classrooms? How do we heal our classrooms? What type of schools do we need to design and build to meet the needs of our students? What is possible for our children? How can we shift from crisis to creation? How can we shift from problem to possibility? How do we ensure that the well-being of our children is met and prioritized? Well, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil, for real. Okay, to know me is to know. It's nothing for me to break out in song. Okay, back to it. We have to eliminate the causes that create dehumanizing conditions in our schools. We need schools free of exploitation, domination, dehumanization, and exclusion. Education should be about empowering students and transforming the social order. Schooling experiences should give students a greater sense of personal voice and personal agency. We need leadership that has the courage to combat systemic oppression in education. I am a fierce advocate for creating a new model for how we educate both teachers and students. We have to create new programs that meet the needs and experiences of marginalized children. We have to create new programs that meet the needs and experiences of teachers. School transformation is driven by people, and teachers are the starting point. I've already said that teachers are the single most important factor when it comes to student success. We will not transform education if we do not center the voices and the needs of teachers. Society must lean into teachers. Teachers are the architects of society. They are crafting our future. Teachers are the soldiers on the battlefield. They are influential change makers. Teachers need to be valued and respected. They need to be asked and recognized for their input when education decisions are being made. Teachers need to be fairly compensated for the transformative work that they do every day in the classrooms. So at the beginning of this video, I used the word catastrophic to describe the state of public education. And I need a new word. I want to be able to describe our schools as empowering, as liberating, as transformative, as humanizing, or revolutionary. And in order to be able to describe our schools in that way, we need to dismantle, destroy, disrupt, eradicate, tear down, get rid of the current system as it is so that we can design, create, and build a whole new system. And I know that sounds lofty, grand, and maybe even unimaginable, but as I said in my intro video, I am hopeful. Y'all, we gotta shift this thing from problem to possibilities. Our children are dying. Our communities are dying. It is literally a matter of life and death. And that's all I have for y'all now. As you take a few minutes to reflect on today's conversation, I want you to think about what needs to happen to prevent death in our classrooms. How do we go from sickness to health, from crisis to creation? What do we want for our children? What do we want for our teachers? Take a few minutes to dream and to imagine, and share your reflections in the comments if you feel up to it. Thank y'all so much for being here. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.